Lately, you've probably been wondering, how does this roster get put together over the last couple of years? Well, now we'll get the answer. Please welcome General Manager Ryan Smith to Wild Wing Cafe. I feel bad that we had to pull you away from practice, but this is going to be cool to tell people about how this all goes together.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's a joy to talk about these players and where they're from, and the 3 years of work that this staff has put in is showing on the field, and so it's exciting time to be an Eagle, and I'm happy to be here. So.
The thing that Coach Heldon has emphasized multiple times the last 3 years, 61 high school players from the state of Georgia. Nobody else in the state has done that, but in your role, it's not just that, but it's also identifying talent in the dreaded or not so dreaded transfer portal, depending on how it works out for you. So if you would, how do you go about managing and finding talent?
No doubt. So, it starts in the state of Georgia. The state of Georgia has the best high school football, especially in the Southeast. And we're trying to find the best players that want to be close to home, that their families can come watch them play, and really build the roster based on that. And then looking at the portal, when we're looking in the portal, obviously we have some big needs, big departures from a play count standpoint, but we're looking for guys that are from the state, from the area, from the footprint, that really want to come home and really make their mark.
You and Andrew Bevel are part of the personnel department looking at how you can make the roster better, filling out the roster, figuring out where their needs are and where things can certainly improve. But as far as day to day, as you look at this roster and what needs to be addressed, is this an instance where it's every morning you two are, okay, we look here, 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 or how do you manage all that?
It's a constant work in progress, and don't overlook the coaching staff. Those guys work their butts off evaluating the kids just like we do. And it's an everyday thing, especially kind of how the portal windows have kind of moved back a little bit, and they're opening up in December and then again in the spring. That's kind of allowed us to catch our breath and also focus on this high school class. So it's a huge group effort by everyone involved: Andrew, Chase Aiken, Kevon Glenn, Ulysses Hall, Miss Alexis. It's a big group effort.
During the flow of a season, you of course have to see the people that you brought in and how they're being incorporated, how successful things are, but how mindful do you have to be of this is a spot we may need to fill going forward, whether it's going back into the portal, losing seniors due to graduation, or for guys that may just natural attrition?
No doubt, and I think when you're looking at it, we really don't want to use the portal that much. We really want to stay close to home, and when there is a need, we need to go do that, but it's not a sense like, all right, we're going to go sign 15 portal kids. We really want these kids we found out of high school the last 3 years to really, show on the field and really show us what they can do. But then there are some scenarios when you do need to go get a guy that's an older guy that might have a year left that can come in and fill a gap. So it's just all kind of position specific and kind of what those needs might be.
How would you describe how you and your staff communicate with the coaches as far as what you need to go get?
No doubt. So it's kind of a constant conversation, depending on injuries, depending on how guys are doing from a play count standpoint and just from a production standpoint. And so it's a constant work in progress, but at the same time, we love these kids that we got, and they work their butts off for us. And so it's not one of those things where we're really doing anything behind the kids' back. We're very honest with them, and we're trying to put the best guys on the field. So.
All right. I want you to humor everybody here. How much film are you watching?
Not enough. I wish it was more, but from our personnel department, that is 99% of the job.
Okay.
So we're cutting up tape. We're watching game tape of high school kids, and when the portal opens up, we're watching game tape of portal kids, and trying to be a resource for our coaching staff so they can go acquire the best players.
You always hear that the tape doesn't lie, the video doesn't lie, but how do you and your staff ensure that what you're watching is what you need to be seeing as far as whether to or to not go after somebody?
No doubt, and a big thing is seeing these guys in person. So when we have all these recruits, if you're out there early, we have a ton of recruits that we get to games, and a big part of the evaluation process is seeing those guys in person. And we send coaches on the road throughout the year, and really want to get them back to a game so they can see the power pulse and then see this community, but also get to see a body type, how they act, how they are from a kid standpoint, and how they are as a person. So,
when you start that communication process with a prospective student athlete, whether they're from this state, the area, or not, when you say Georgia Southern, what's some of the things that they're telling you about what they know?
Honestly, the game day atmosphere.
Okay.
That is a thing that these guys, they want to play in big atmospheres. They want to play for a fan base that cares, and this is one of the very best, especially in this area of the country. And these kids, they're playing big time Friday Night Lights, and they come to a Saturday game in Paulson, and it's even bigger. So that's definitely, if we get them to a game, you got a chance. You get them to a game in Statesboro, Georgia, you got a chance. So
Allie was telling us what a game day is like for her and her staff. What's game day like for you and your staff?
it is a big event. We're hosting anywhere from 200 to 300 kids and their families, and trying to make sure that every single one of them feels the love from us and also has a good experience, because those guys are billboards and they go back to their high schools and they go back in their communities. We want them to have the very best experience and tell them how good a place this is.
I've talked with Coach Helton about this before. He's been in it for 30 years, so the number of people that he knows and has relationships with, you can't count that. And with what you just said, trying to keep track of a couple hundred people per weekend, know them and their families, how do you create meaningful relationships with so many people in that amount of time?
No doubt. That takes a lot of staff and a lot of intentional conversation to make sure when kids check in that we're greeting them at the door, we're making sure they've got everything squared away, and then also when our coaches they get done with Eagle Walk, they come over there and meet a lot of these kids, and we make sure that they meet their area coach, they meet their position coach, so that they leave here that they've met some people and they feel like they're kind of a part of the family for sure. So it's a big process, but game days are fun for us. We're hosting a lot of kids, and then we get to watch Georgia Southern football.
With experience in the SEC and the ACC, how would you compare to what Georgia Southern does relative to the Power Four?
It's not much different at all.
Really?
We're trying to do the exact same thing. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. We're trying to do the exact same thing that they are.
How would you say it's unique doing it here as opposed to what you were experiencing in Auburn and North Carolina?
I would say this place reminds me a lot of Auburn from a standpoint of the fan base and their care for the sport, for the game of football, and for these kids. I mean, this part of the country and these fans and this community, they care so much about the team and the players and the outcomes, of course. But it's just a cool place to be, and there's really nothing like Saturday Night Lights and Paulson.
As far as what this team is going through currently, having to adjust its practice schedule, I know yesterday was pretty much a Sunday, a Monday, and a Tuesday at once. Today was a Wednesday. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow will be a Thursday, and then Wednesday everybody's all hands on deck, a flight up to Norfolk. But you said what you did for a home game, but as far as a road trip, you and your staff, what's your role in being part of the travel party?
Morale. We're there for morale. And, a few of us are helping out Madison from an operational standpoint, but we're there to make sure, the guys are locked in. We're doing the very best we can to encourage them and to be a resource for any possible way we can fill in. Of course, we're watching other teams' rosters warm up and body typing and seeing, how they do the operation side of things on their recruiting game days to make sure, we're doing a better job than them. It's all a game from everything's a competitive advantage. So if there's anything we can pick up pregame that they're doing that we want to do here, we're taking notes and incorporating it. So,
all right, from someone in your shoes, you've seen the last 3 weeks, 3-0 in conference play. What's impressed you about how Eagle football has performed?
I think the toughness. We've had a lot of adversity that we've brought upon ourselves, but we have overcome that. Both sides of the ball have picked each other up. And just the veteran leadership on the team really shines. I really thought that on Saturday, just watching throughout the game. We've got some guys that have been here for a few years that are making big plays. And even some of our transfers like Tyler Fromm, LB Bunkley Shelton, some guys that have played some big-time ball and, in the Power 4 level, they come in here and they're producing. So it's been really good to see.